here's what happened!
Dude, here's what happened. Episode 5. Here we are. I'm with my first guest ever. Woo! I didn't introduce you yet. You shouldn't be saying anything.
Dude!
We'll cut that. This is Ryan Rogers. I would say he's my friend, but I'm not a liar, so I would never say that.
Dude!
We'll both say who we are and something about ourselves. I'm Matt King, and I'm a headliner. Ryan, go ahead.
Dude, here's what happened!
All right. Dude, here's what happened. Episode 5. This is my guest, Ryan Rogers.
Hi, everybody.
I think I was wearing this shirt first, even though I know I wasn't, but I didn't know that he was doing that. So we're in a tiny car together, matching.
I'm like his mini me at this point.
I didn't ask you any questions yet. Please stay quiet. I'm kidding. So Ryan is my friend.
Begrudgingly.
I did it. I said
You did.
I said it. Okay.
And you didn't even choke on it.
Ryan's my friend. I'm working on that. I'm going to get better at it. We met doing comedy. I headline. He sometimes does guest spots on bar shows and stuff like that. But Ryan, take us into the...
Ouch. Yes, I do some guest spots. I do some hosting. I do some featuring. No, I am not a headliner.
Go ahead and tell us the thing that you got coming up that's pretty cool.
Tomorrow I am recording for Tubi what's called the You See Me comedy series. It is season 4. This is my second year coming back to perform on this series. Super excited. We sold out the first venue and had to move it to a bigger venue, and we're almost sold out for that. And hopefully that'll happen tomorrow at Showtime.
Nice. Sounds good. I'm not doing that. But
maybe next year.
I will do something eventually.
Dude!
There's going to be so many edits on this episode.
Dude!
On this podcast, it's called Dude, Here's What...
Dude, here's what happened.
That's what it's called. That's the name of the podcast that I created and don't know how to say. That's actually why I have a guest today, because I realized I don't know how to speak. And so I had to have someone here to translate the jumbled up thoughts bouncing around in my ADHD brain, because my medicine hasn't kicked in yet. The morning medicine wore off. The afternoon medicine was just partaken of, and we'll see what happens. So it's a storytelling podcast, essentially. Now, I'm going to have guests on here, like Ryan, and I'm going to ask them some questions, and it's probably going to lead to stories. That's how we're going to do it. And this is all fun. This is a comedy podcast. We don't take anything super seriously on here. That's why we had Ryan as a guest. We don't get controversial, anything. We're having fun. Everybody loves this. So that being said, Ryan, tell us who you voted for and why you think people that didn't vote that way are terrible people.
Dude!
You got into stand-up comedy when?
This is my second go at it. 20 years ago, I started at the Funny Stop, or actually it was Hilarities back then. And I started there till it burnt down, and then we moved over to the Funny Stop. Took a 17-year break to raise my son, and I got back into it just about 4 years ago.
Right on. 4 years. So how long were you in it the first time?
About 3 years.
3 years, 17 years off, hiatus.
Yes.
And then you're on your 4th year?
Yes.
Or you're coming close to sealing 4
I'm
years?
coming into my 4th year right now.
Okay. Go ahead and just tell us what you were working with the first go around in comedy.
First go around in comedy was fighting what was wrong with my life, because I was dealing with health issues, and I realized that I wasn't doing entertainment anymore. So I decided stand-up comedy was going to be it. So I created a character, an Amish character. We called him Zachariah Yoder, and because I'm bald, evil, and then it was Amish powers. And so I did this character, and I won the amateur contest there at Hilarities, and opened for Thea Vidal from That's Thea. She had her own ABC's Family Show. She was the headliner on the Queens of Comedy, and she pulled me to the side and told me that, hey, Ryan, this character's great, but you need to figure out who you are on stage if you want to get to the next level. And I started doing comedy as myself and bombed tremendously each and every time I went out at that point.
That tracks.
Yep. And as soon as my son was born, I was like, good excuse to run away from comedy. I'm going to go raise my son now.
All right. So I think that's something that people don't think about enough with stand-up comedy is authenticity. Like, is there, I mean, most of my comedy is like storytelling based kind of. Yeah. That's why I wanted to go with a podcast of this format. But like, obviously I'm embellishing some of the details in the story. Some of my life is so stupid that I don't have to make up anything. I can just be like, guess what I did today? And people are like, you're an idiot. And it works.
That tracks.
It does. But sometimes you got to you got to spice it up a little bit. But some people get a little too, what's the word I'm looking at?
Creative.
Too creative. And try to get a little too cute maybe. And they tell this story and you're like, that has never happened to anybody. Like, it's not even like, oh, that's wild. I can't believe that happened. It's like, no, you didn't go to Mars in a Tesla or whatever.
Wearing a pink tutu.
Yeah. Like, that's okay. Nobody's going to laugh at that because it's dumb. And we know it didn't happen. And I was talking to a comedian one time and he said that he got a chance to like, I think it was Bill Burr that he got a chance to like perform with somewhere.
Okay.
And he went backstage or wherever and was like, hey, so what, do you have any advice or whatever? And he's like, yeah, you need to be you because people aren't believing you. That's why it's not going the way you want it to. And that's something that's hard for people to find, I think, because when you do, you're like basically inviting people to laugh at your life if you're going to talk about your life. And some people cannot handle it.
They're all going to laugh at me.
That's the point. And, when I was a youth pastor, all the other youth pastors that I would see at like big events were like cool guys and they had the cool hair and the cool clothes and like everyone thought they were super cool. And I was walking around in gym shorts and a t-shirt and slides, which is what I'm wearing currently.
So there's been no maturity in the clothing since then.
I was like, I'm never going to dress like that. I'm never going to talk like that. I'm never going to use slang that people that are 20 years younger than me are using because they're going to look at me and go, wow, okay, boomer. Like you can tell that it's not natural. So I think with stand-up, it's kind of the same thing where people have to believe that you're being you in order to like enjoy your comedy.
Yes.
So characters are fun though. I mean, like, I think they have their place. I don't think that like, I don't know. There's just not a ton of them that are prevalent.
And you have to do the character in small bits. You can't make it a majority of your show because it doesn't fit that way. I'm doing the character Gru as part of my act now, and I bring it in for a small segment, and then I can do a small callback when I want to make a little bit more of the dark humor. Instead of it being Ryan Rogers doing the dark humor, it's Gru doing dark humor. And so I'm finding that character takes some of the blowback away from me when they don't really like or they feel like the joke went too far. They see that it was a character doing it and not me myself doing it. And that's where I see a good character comes in.
Sure. And I'm not even going to say that like a character is necessarily a shortcut, but if you use it too much, I think it is going to be viewed as one, whether you're using it for that or not. Like it would be very easy for me to take the stage and just be like, we're going to tell some jokes. We're going to tell the greatest jokes anyone's ever told before. And you're going to laugh. You're going to laugh a lot. And then I just went through and did my whole set. I did the whole set like that. But people are going to tune out about 3 minutes into that.
Simmer down, XL47. You're not that funny. It's not just, you're so full of yourself. No, stop.
See how quickly I tuned out? As soon as he started talking, I was like, I don't want to be here anymore. We were both on a show where it was like a charity thing, and somebody very graciously donated a keg to the good people that were donating to the fund.
Yes.
And they tapped that keg an hour before food was served. And I was featuring on that show, and I've never not been like, not jealous, but I've never been like, man, I wish I could, do more time. I wish I'm lucky them, they're headlining. I've never not been like, and I'm glad to get it. I've never felt that way, but I was like, this is bad. Because by the time I was featuring, these people had been drinking free drinks for like 4.5 hours.
And we had guest after guest.
A lot of them.
Yes.
And so they're getting rowdy. And it was at like an alternative venue. So there wasn't like proper stage lighting and stuff. So just the lights are on. We're all in there. We can see everybody. Everybody can see everybody. And there was these two ladies that is the closest I've ever had to like a meltdown, like a Bill Burr in Philadelphia meltdown, where I just insult down to the like Major League Soccer team in the area, because it was because they just like most people that cause a problem at a show, they thought that they were helping.
Was it the blonde and the brunette?
Yes.
Oh, I've got a not safe for podcast story after.
They thought that they were just like adding to everything. The problem was they were so out of their minds that they were saying stuff that had nothing to do with anything. Like yelling out names, and I'm not going to say any of the names that they were yelling out because they're not important, but yelling out names of famous people just during my pauses. I was like, I broke a chair, and they yell out a name, and I'm like, no, it was a chair. And like, I've never come that close to like snapping on someone. Finally, I was like, how are you getting home? And they're like, this guy. And I was like,
yes.
Go start the car, buddy. And then I laughed, and I go, I'm only halfway kidding, honestly. Like, get it moving.
They left the show and went to another bar. I ran into them at another bar.
But what I was getting at is like, we did like a roast of people that were there before I went up. And so I roasted people as Trump, which is arguably funny. And the problem was they were on just a different level of existence at that time. And so all they wanted was for me to do that impersonation.
Yes.
My entire set. And they're just like, nobody around them is like, shut up. Because like I said, there was a keg donated. So everybody out there was pretty inebriated, and they're just like, what? Yeah, what they said. I'm like, no. So sometimes a character is wonderful and it adds to a set. You gotta be careful when you unleash the character, because you never know what is. I've had other sets where I was headlining a sold out show. There was like 150 people there. I busted out the Trump impression when I picked up the mic, because it was at a golf course restaurant.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's great to be here. This is a beautiful course. Not as beautiful as mine. I have a lot of golf courses. None of them could be here today, but like they like that. And I just slipped back and forth into it the whole time, and it went great. So it's like, you just have to take an assessment, I think, also to be like, if I do this, is there a bunch of drunk idiots here that are not going to shut up about it for the next 20 minutes? And if the answer is yes, Probably don't.
Well, I just like the fact that how you can slip in and out of your voice so easily at this point in time. I still have to use the trigger word like the simmerdown. That's what brings me into my voice to be able to get into my character. So every time I go into it, if I don't feel like I have the voice, I have to start off with that trigger word to be able to go into it. So that's impressive.
Well, it's funny too. Like, I think it's just, there are a lot of impressions that are like that though too. That's where, like, I've watched some of the things that Frank Caliendo has done, and he said, like, sometimes you just have to like figure out what's the one thing they say that you can say. And I watched him like describe how to do Morgan Freeman thing.
Okay.
And he was like, you just start with like this phrase, and then you move it around. Cause like some things are closer to the back of your mouth. Some things are closer to the front of your mouth, depending on what it is. And once you get it, it's like you can just sometimes just slip in and out. Other times you're like, if you've been doing like another one, you slip between them and it's weird. I was just listening to a different podcast, and Craig Ferguson was on there.
Okay.
And I used to always try to do a Craig Ferguson impression, but the only way I could get my way to like a Scottish accent was to start with the phrase
Whale oil.
the late show with Craig Ferguson.
Okay.
Because the way he says late, like, got the vowel, the late show with Craig Ferguson. And I didn't sound anything like him, but I was just trying to do a Scottish accent. So yeah, it's weird how some of those things are.
Yeah.
But with the Trump impression, I've done so many pieces of content with that I can pretty much just kind of slide it in and out between doing Trump and talking like me, and going back to Trump and then talking like me, and going back. We're going back.
Someday you're going to have dementia and you're not going to know who you are.
That's true. But let's face it, there's a great chance I'm not going to make it that far. I realized today, let's just talk for health reasons here for a second. Let's talk about health. I have the fattest lunch box in the world. First of all, it's a 30-can cooler because I like to eat, and lunch boxes are made for children, it seems like. So I have a big enough cooler that obviously I don't fill the whole thing. But then I was thinking, what's in the cooler currently? Let me tell you, I have the fattest cooler in the world. Ask me what's in my cooler right now.
What's in your cooler right now?
An assortment of various cheeses.
That's healthy.
And an assortment of sugar-free sodas.
Okay.
That is a fat man's cooler.
It's better
I have
than
cheese and diet pop.
Okay, that's better than saying you have candy and
no, that would be less fat. That is the fattest thing to have. Because I'm like, yeah, I have a cheese tray in there. But it's all diet pop, dude.
Is it sugar free or is it the diet?
It's the zero sugar.
Okay, so that's better than
a peasant. I am actually. But if there's one thing I believe in spending your financial well-being on, it's zero sugar beverages that are one day going to result in the cognitive decline of one Matt King.
I stopped drinking all sugar, anything, and pop completely, and then I reached a point of water and unsweet tea, and I needed flavor. So we went to zero sugar pop.
And they have so many different ones out there. So
zero sugar root beer, the best.
We'd like to take a second right now to say thank you to one of our sponsors. I'm going to go ahead and do an ad read here. I'm just kidding. Nobody's going to sponsor this. We don't have podcast sponsors yet.
But if you'd like to,
let me know. And if it's something that's not something I don't want, then it'll be considered. I would get the worst podcast sponsors. I know I would. There would be like yoga pants or something like that.
Oh, and you have to wear it and show it that you're wearing it. These are the most comfortable ever.
That's probably the best sponsor I could get. Fabletics, if you're listening, send me some of them yoga pants. I'll wear them. But send money, though, too. Not just the yoga pants, because I can't really do anything with those except for make stupid videos.
Do they come in bedsheet sizes?
Now, why would you say a thing like that?
Just asking. You're down to a California king. I mean,
Anyway, I don't even know why I'm doing this anymore. So let's go back to what we're talking about.
Okay.
And let me ask you, what were we talking about? I'm kidding. I know exactly what I'm talking about.
His ADHD medicine finally kicked in.
Now who can't talk? Huh? All right. So you did the character. The lady said, be you. And so you said, all right, I'm going to be gone instead.
Yes.
And so you're gone for 17 years. You came back. And what exactly was it that got you back into the game?
It was GW Nell. I don't know if you guys know who that is. If you don't, look her up. She's hilarious. Quite vulgar, but hilarious.
Yeah, she'll be a tough edit when she comes on this podcast.
Right.
There's gonna be a lot of.
She was performing in most comedy clubs. You generally have the same comic on Friday nights going to be there on Saturday night. And she had said something about needing a better quality video of herself on stage. So I came back Saturday night to offer recording services, and it was a different headliner. And the headliner that night was a guy by the name of Sean Boyd. And I, back 20 years ago, had started doing comedy with him, and it kind of just clicked that, hey, I know this guy. Wow, look, if I had stayed with it, maybe I'd be what he's doing right now. And so we had a conversation, and he was like, I'm back. You got 5 minutes, come on in and we'll do it. And that's how I got started back.
Boom.
Boom.
Not gonna lie, I didn't listen. It was an accident. Medicine still hasn't really kicked in, but I know the story. I would never ask a question you don't already know the answer to when you're interviewing someone. I mean, come on, guys. What do you think? What do you think? This is an amateur podcast?
Rookie.
I mean, I've got 17 followers on Spotify right now. It's pretty serious.
Blowing up.
Basically goes the top 10 podcasts, and then
everybody else.
And then I'm right
there
under. So anyway, man, this guy is rude. So how did your kid feel about you taking time to raise him? I feel like he might have taken offense to that, or
he ran away from home and joined the Navy. He was so distraught by it.
So, okay, so he was like, my dad was a stand-up comedian, and then he gave up and decided to raise me instead. And
he was like, I can't handle this anymore. I'm out.
Right. Which I think most people would be. He was trapped there for 17 years.
Well, his mother's been trapped for 27 now, and she can't find the way out the door. So,
all right, let's get into that. So you hate your wife. Tell me about that.
Let's see. We didn't realize.
Don't tell me about that. I don't. Do not tell me about that. All right. Not everybody can be a cool divorced dad like myself.
No.
You know? And let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Divorce is expensive, kids.
Okay.
All right. So make sure that you don't ever marry anybody. Okay. Because it's just not.
See, I think you're looking at it wrong.
It's not practical.
Just don't have anything, and then they can't take anything. Then it's not as expensive.
Au contraire. There's a common English language symbol. We'll call it the minus sign. All they have to do is put that in front of a big number, and that's what you have now.
It's what I got now.
So it'll get bigger. Okay. That's the cool thing about negatives, though.
They don't ever end.
Well, I mean, your number gets bigger. If you're doing it right, the number gets smaller. But who's trying to get that number smaller?
16 followers.
Don't listen to him. All right. And if I lose followers from this, it's because of you. That's
Fair.
very good. Now, I've heard you on a podcast before, and I thought this podcast kind of makes him sound like a good guy. So what can I do to make him sound bad?
Which podcast did you hear me on before?
It's not important. I'm just saying. I thought, he sounds like kind of a cool guy. So what can I do to show the world the real Ryan? The
real Ryan. The one you know. The
one
one that we talk about backstage where nobody else
yeah,
can see.
the uncool Ryan. So all right, let's get into that. So I personally love this about doing stand-up with your friends. When you do stand-up with your friends, you kind of have to have a thick skin.
Yes.
Because one of the most fun things about doing stand-up with your friends is saying very mean things about them to their face and to a large crowd of people.
Correct.
That is why I strive to get enough material to be able to headline, because then I can be the last person on
Get to
stage.
go last. Correct.
I can even say, like, you know what? No, don't send the host up. I'll end the show. But if you go anywhere before that last slot, you are on the chopping block. You are in the line of fire. And if you have good friends, they will destroy you on your way to the microphone. But they understand that carries a risk that you then have a set amount of time to where you can be as mean as possible to them.
Correct.
It's just the danger is you can't get too mean, because then the crowd starts to feel bad for them and all that stuff. So you have to, it works better if you're going after them. Like, they're not just announcing you coming to the stage, you're going after them. So they have just been subjected to this person that you're going to make fun of.
Yes.
And then they're in on it too. But that's fun. I think that's endearing. I like that about stand-up.
I think that's part of what built our bond as friends, is going to that point.
Yeah.
Between you and I and that third person, we kind of was brutal to each other all the time and every chance we got. And I feel that that's where our relationship built from.
And I think that's kind of a fun aspect of it, where it's like, I think part of comedy is saying stuff that everybody has thought at some point, like the observational part of humor, saying stuff that everyone has thought at some point, but never like cognitively or not, like consciously thought. So like if I went after Ryan and then I said something like, I don't know, his head looks like a peanut M&M without the candy shell or something like that, everyone goes, it does. Actually, I noticed that. And it's not necessarily a funny joke, but they think it's funny because they're like, I noticed that too. I've been trying to put my finger on it the whole time. He looks like a peanut head.
I'm going to need therapy after this.
Well, you probably should have been there a long time ago. BetterHelp might be a sponsor at some point, and then you could, or Talkspace. We don't discriminate. Whoever wants. You know what? If you have a fly-by-night therapy company, hit me up. I don't have any sponsors. Just
cheeseburgers. He's looking for cheeseburgers.
We'll cut that out. So what are your thoughts on AI?
As far as comedy in AI, absolutely not. It doesn't need to be anywhere near it. If you're using it to help organize and clean up and better writing, as far as like professional letters or things of that nature, or your news article, checking for grammar and spelling, great. Outside of that, no thanks.
So you don't think that AI is naturally funny?
I've yet to see anything from it be funny.
What about when he said, practice? You gonna talk about practice?
Oh, we're talking about the basketball player AI.
Yeah, who are you talking about?
That fictitious Skynet stuff.
So Allen Iverson will organize your thoughts and notes.
Sure.
Sometimes, these athletes, they make a lot of money, and then when they retire, because it's a young man's sport, they got to find work. And I guess we'll cut that too.
That can go in the blooper reel.
Yeah, I think the whole thing is probably a blooper reel at this point. So you said you're up to featuring now.
Correct.
So what's the longest set you've done to this point that you're proud of? I think we've all done long sets that were like,
yes,
yeah, I did it, but it wasn't. Well, what's like the longest you've done that you were like, that felt good?
The longest that I've done that felt really good, like it was last from beginning to end, was 25 minutes.
Okay. So full feature length to the extent, I mean, I guess a feature could go 30. I don't think I really ever had any where they wanted me to do that. Usually it's 20, 25. I've even had 15 before, which is kind of an easy night. But.
Yeah. The 30 minutes has happened before. And I've done 33 is the longest, but again, it was dragging stuff on and out and not really on the laughs per minute where I would be comfortable with to say that it was a good set. I just did that kind of time. But 30 minutes on the Pub and Grub tour is a common feature length because you don't have a host, you don't have guest spots in those series of shows. So 30 minutes feature is 30 minutes.
Okay. So let's see, 2 episodes ago, yeah, I talked about the worst bomb I ever had.
Okay.
What is your worst bomb? I know you got a lot to choose from, but what's...
Oh, I already know which one my worst bomb was. This was back in, I want to say it was about 2007.
Let me stop you there. I'm going to disagree with you on that
one. No, it was awful. It was one of the first times that I ever tried to be Ryan Rogers on stage. I had written 0 jokes as Ryan Rogers. It was an emergency situation. I had my Amish beard cut off and I'm like, okay, tonight's the night. And I go up and I'm telling these awful jokes and I can't get anybody to laugh. I've run my time because I refuse to come off stage without getting this audience to laugh once. And this was just at the point when the Pope had passed away. And I finally said, this is what it's like to be the Pope. And the room went from not caring to even more quiet. I at least had their attention. And I said, dead and on stage. And I finally got my laugh and I came off.
Yeah. That's rough. The worst thing about a bomb, tell me what that is, because I've only had the one.
I just saw you bomb last week. Kidding. What are you talking about?
It's not true. Never have, never will. Can't stop, won't stop. No, I think the worst thing about a bomb is like when you've done the material and it's gone very well other places and it's just not, for whatever reason. And there's a lot of things that could go into it. The venue can be a huge factor. But the trick is to write material that's going to be funny, regardless of where you are, regardless of the situation. If you hear it, you'll think it's funny.
Correct.
And that's, I think, important for people to understand when they're starting out. Like if you're doing open mics, you're going to wherever it is. I've done open mics in Mexican restaurants and obviously bars, coffee shop type situations. And you're like right in the middle of your setup. And the bartender starts blending ice, and you're like,
nobody can hear.
And it didn't matter because they weren't listening
anyways.
Or there anyway. And you're going to have a lot of other comedians sitting there at an open mic, and they're, they've heard your set 75 times. So they're not really giving you much. I mean, they might be trying to be supportive, but they're like,
that's kind of why I like when I'm on the road and traveling and get to these other cities. I was just in Norfolk, Virginia, and got to do Kazi's open mic, and it was a packed house, 40 comedians that had never seen me before. It was a great opportunity to do my material and get the feedback down in that area to see that it worked down there as well. And that's kind of why I enjoy going to open mics that aren't my normal open mic.
That's a big thing too, is you you need to go as many places as possible, which isn't always a possibility. The cold hard truth of it is, if you're not in New York City, or you're not in Austin, or you're not in, one of these big markets like that where they have like places you can go up multiple times a night, you might get 1 or 2 a week or something like that. But you need to keep trying to find other ones, because you run into a thing where it's like, okay, I'm pretty popular here. They like my stuff, but does this translate in a different city or in a different state or somewhere where it's like, and I think that also breaks you of using like local references and stuff. It's kind of cringy sometimes when you see a guy that's like, oh, well, that's like how it is on Madison Street. And you're like, it's one thing if you're doing that when you're taking the stage and you're saying something about where those people are from. But if you're just like saying something that everyone there is a local and they know, you're not going to be able to do that other places.
Correct. I actually had that experience in Myrtle Beach. I usually go to a joke where I talk about a city being on meth, and I'm like, okay, what is that area around here? Well, in Myrtle Beach, they're not locals. Everybody is touring. So to try and pick a spot right there as a city, nobody there got the reference because nobody was from there. So at the same time, you got to keep in mindset that, okay, is this a local type club, or is this everybody here is transit? What's going on? So I had to up the joke to talking about like whether it was Alabama or West Virginia as that got the poke.
And I think the best thing to do is just, a lot of those are throwaway lines anyway. So just focus your material on stuff about you, because it'll be true no matter where you are. And obviously not like intimately specific where you're like, mom. You're like, no, what? Unless you're like, what do we know about moms, everybody? And everybody's got a mom. So there it's more general and people are going to get it and whatever. But
I didn't have a mom.
Right. Well, I mean, that's a shame because you have comedy that only a mother could love.
She abandoned me.
Because
when I was 45.
Was that when you did the second go around with comedy?
Maybe.
She's like, I'm
probably
out. I'm out. How did she abandon you?
We don't speak anymore.
Oh, I thought maybe she died.
No.
Was like, look what she did to me.
Nope. She just decided, we've had enough.
Who is your biggest supporter of your comedy? Because I'll tell you what, it's not me, but
you're just my second biggest supporter.
That's not good.
No, my biggest supporter has to be my brother, Corey. He will pack a room with a bunch of the people that he knows, and he will do some marketing for me. He will pack a place out to make sure that I'm taken care of on my shows if they're anywhere near local to Massillon, Canton, Cleveland.
That's cool. And I've actually seen that like in person where it's cool to see, sometimes you got brothers grow apart as they get older and stuff. I'm pretty close with my brother, but he's more he likes to keep to himself and stuff like that. But to see somebody that's actually like he's just like he doesn't do comedy.
No.
He just works a job, and he's blowing up social media for you all the time.
Yes.
And he's always like, if you see him like at a show or at a bar or something like that, he's
got his pom-poms
and that's cool to see, because I think everybody needs that. You got to have at least somebody. I think my parents are big supporters of me, which I know is not common in comedy. But I think they just got used to me being broke as can be. And they're just like, he's not going to, we're just happy he graduated. And honestly,
nothing's changed.
We think they just kind of shoved him through to get him out of that school. But they're big supporters. My brother and sister are, but they're busy with their own stuff. And I think my girlfriend is a huge supporter. And I was actually told she listened to a couple episodes. She said he did not mention me much. And I said, that's because the podcast is mine and you need to stay out of it. And then she hit me several times. And
oh, is that what the red mark underneath the eye is? Okay.
I'm kidding, but she did say I didn't mention her enough. So I don't know if she wants her name mentioned, but my girlfriend is wonderful.
She is an amazing person. I can't tell you how happy we are to see her when she's there, because at least someone's going to be nice to us when Matt's around. You should see him walking around backstage. He's a little bit of a prima donna at this point, and it can be hurtful sometimes. Very, very hurtful.
You know, nothing makes you feel better about yourself than putting those around you down as often as possible. And that's the philosophy that I've had for a long time.
Dude!
My girlfriend is a big supporter of me. She has worked for a huge company where she's traveled all over the country. And it is so huge to have a person that has personal contacts in cities across the country, to where I know that if I go somewhere, there are people that have already reached out to her, like, when can we see him perform?
Okay.
And I'm like, I know I can sell.
Nice.
I know I can sell. I sold in a different state. I sold like 22 tickets in the biggest snowstorm of this century, in this area anyway. And I felt pretty good about that. And I wanted to think that it was because of me, but honestly, I don't know how much she paid them. But that's a big thing to have, is a person that's in your corner, that's supporting you, that's pushing you, because your comedian friends are going to do the opposite of that.
We're going to sabotage it. We're going to do everything we can to tear you down.
No, I think most people that are cool, that are in comedy, when they see their buddy, their pal, their friend get something cool, they're happy. And sometimes it's like, yeah, maybe I'll get a little bump from that too. But
absolutely,
that's not like the first thought. It's always just like, how cool for you that you got that.
Yes.
We're doing it. We're out here doing the thing, because we all started this making $0, not being booked. We were going to free open mics in Mexican restaurants where,
hey, don't forget the chicken wing place.
Yeah, even the workers were not
paying attention whatsoever.
Or happy to see us. And, you know, so we all started the same place, and it's like, we all kind of had this talk like, hey, if one of us eats, we all eat. And that's the thing, is like, if there's nothing cooler than getting a headlining position and being like, you know what, that room seems like it would be good for this guy, and bringing a feature with you.
Yep.
And saying like, you know, giving them an opportunity. Maybe if you have the opportunity to give your friend their first feature spot, very cool. And it's just one of those things where it's like, we're all in this together. None of us are the same. We all have different experiences, and there's plenty of stage for all of us. Like,
right.
There are some people that are just like, I need to not tell anybody about this because I got a cool opportunity and I don't want them to get it. That's someone that needs to work on themselves, because they are insecure and they think that everyone else is better than them or something, and they're going to take it from them.
No,
that's not the way. And some people, I think, are just, maybe some people are just private about things, but like, I think that if I get into a market or something like that, I want to bring as many of my friends with me as possible.
Exactly. I mean, the first thing I did when we first made our trip up to Hilarities, what's the first thing I did? I walked you over and introduced you. I'm pushing my friends before I push myself in 90% of the cases where I'm at. I know that I still have more work to do, and I have friends that are funnier than me and better than me. So I try to push them constantly all the time. So like Rob Coleman, I'm constantly pushing him as someone. Matt King,
whatever. I push myself. I've had an opportunity because I walked into the online presence that I have. Like, I didn't, though, really. I was doing what I was always doing, and one of them just happened to go. And so I've had the opportunity to meet some fairly high-profile comedians and things like that. And the coolest compliment I think I got from any of them was, he said to me, like, hey, man, like, come hang out with me. It's cool that you're here. You know what I think is cool about you? You didn't ask me for anything. And I was like, heck yeah.
Yep.
That's the reputation that I want to have.
Exactly.
I'm not, when I'm reaching out to other comedians and stuff, it's because I eventually want to work with them, or I want to develop kind of a friendship with them, or I want to network with them, or bring something I'm doing there, or bring something they're doing here, or something like that. But I never want to be a person that's just like, I'm trying to find a hook. I need a hook so that I can get ahead of people. I don't want that. And I don't think anybody that's serious about comedy wants that. They're more serious about just status and things like that, which honestly, even
I just want to do shows. I just want to go places, meet people, make people laugh. And right now I'm thrilled to be breaking even when I make my traveling. I'm not trying to make $1 or 10 or 20. It'd be nice, but right now I'm just enjoying going places, seeing the sights, meeting the people, and having fun times with that.
And the upsetting thing about that is sometimes when you're at the stage like that we're at, where it's like, hey, if I can afford to get out there, I'll do it because it's a good opportunity for me. But the downside of that is sometimes you have to say no.
Yeah.
I had to turn down a weekend headlining in Indiana where I was going to get paid well, and the hotel was going to be provided, and
That's
all
a dream
that
come true right there.
But the transportation was going to be an issue. So I had to like, thank you, but I'll try to get a hold of you later this year. And I'm fairly confident I'll get that back. It's just, but that's not always the case, and that's the way it is.
Yep.
So, but the goal is you spend a lot of your own money, you go broke on things, you break even on things, and then
merchandise.
And then eventually you can do it and afford to. I mean, even if I was like just able to pay my bills, I'd be living the dream. I don't need to be rich. Just comfortable. I need to know that everything's taken care of. And if you're in it for the money, you're in for a rude awakening. Because if you're not Shane Gillis or Gabriel Iglesias or one of these guys that can sell out stadiums, keep your day job, because you're going to need it if you want to do comedy.
Well, you've got some benefit coming to you. You've got to lean into the corporate sector because you are a clean comedian, and corporation is probably right up your alley. And there's several comics that I know that make a living because they can do the cruise lines, they can do the corporate rooms, and they get paid very well to do those. On my last time out, went to South Dakota, and I learned a valuable lesson in merchandise where I was basically breaking even from the weekend. I watched the headliner make money, and it all came from the money that he sold in his merchandise. It's so important that if you're going to be on the road and you go out, you need to have something marketable that you can sell to pick up the money that's going to make it a profitable trip.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, especially if you're traveling, that's where you sell the merch. If you're at your home club that people can see you at all the time, they're not buying the merch. But if you go out and people see you're out there and you're doing the thing, and you sell to them through your act that, like, I'm living my dream right now, you'd be surprised how many people. Well, I've sold way more merch than I thought I would sell, even as a feature. Just because people are like, they're like, you're really funny. Here, let me do something to help you. Let me support you somehow.
Yeah.
And, that's so, but as they say, you can't hit a home run if you don't take the bat off your shoulder. So if you don't get the merch, branding is so important. You got to have a brand. And I probably dwell on it too much because I always have for my entire life. I've wanted to have a brand and logos and all that stuff. So that's more natural to me than it should be. And so I have more alternate logos and things than I know what to do with.
See, I think I have the logo down. I just need the merch now to finish it. And I think the new joke, the new bit that I'm working on, if that turns out well, that will produce some merchandise out of it.
That's kind of the nice thing about that stuff. Nothing is cringier than when you go to a comedy show and a guy starts showing his merch and none of it has anything to do with anything he's ever said. It's just a funny shirt. And they're like, here's a shirt I made that says, you can't park there. And I'm like, you've never, what is that? So you just took a viral funny phrase and turned it into like it doesn't even have your name or your logo or anything on it. It's just a shirt.
And why would you make anything?
You could have bought that at Hot Topic on the way to the show and been like, I've got this merch. You know, that's actually not a bad idea. If you're that kind of comic, stop at a Hot Topic and just pick up an armload of stuff. Be like, I got a Hello Kitty backpack. That's funny, right? Those are $50. They cost a lot more upfront than I thought. $55 actually.
Go to the bargain bin if you're at least going to do that. Go get the stuff on sale.
Yeah, merch, branding, all that stuff, very important.
Carry a bunch of stickers. At least get your logo on it.
Stickers are a thing that I've sold the most of because people want to support you. They want to buy something. Okay. They don't need anything that you have. So if you have a sticker, and I just say for a donation, because I get a great deal on them. I can give them away. Okay. But if you say a donation, GW taught me this. If you say for a donation, they will most likely give you more than what you were asking. Okay. So if you're like, these stickers, I can afford to sell them for $2. I'll make like $1 off of each one. They'll give you $2. If you say just whatever you can do, you'll end up giving some away for free, but people will pay for the whole run of stickers for one sticker. Okay. And then you can give the rest of them away if you want, or
stickers it is. That's where we're moving to first.
But also, I would encourage magnets because there are people like my father in this world that would not be caught dead putting a sticker on anything that they spent money on because it ruins it. And then they get a stainless steel refrigerator. And
how's he feel about tattoos?
On that.
Huh? How's your dad feel about tattoos then?
So anyway, I mean, he's not a fan, but it is what it is. I like him, and I spent too much money on him already. And, you know, the thing about marriage, we talked about this earlier, is if you put your anniversary date on your arm permanently, you're going to have to look at it after your divorce. And after your divorce, you're not going to be able to afford to cover it up.
Well, so if you get remarried, just choose the same date.
It's going to be hard to get someone to go back to 2015 with you.
Well, then you just need a slight fix. You just got to fix the last two numbers.
I'm just going to cut it off. I'm just going to get my arm amputated, I think.
It'll match your legs.
It'll help me stand out. Well, that's later, but that'll help me stand out a little bit, you know? Because it's accompanied with a good story. They're like, oh my gosh, how'd you lose your arm? I'm like, well, funny story. My wife left and I'd gotten a tattoo of our anniversary date, so I chopped it off.
How about that?
Doesn't everyone in this room feel safe right now?
And then after
I'm losing it.
And after you lose your legs to diabetes, then you can be like that world champion cornhole player.
Now, why would you say something like that?
Because that's what you've confessed to me.
That I'm a champion cornhole player?
Yes.
I'm not.
So you lied to me.
I can't hit a cornhole board to save my life. Like if I was falling off of, like, let's say the Burj Khalifa or whatever the tallest building in the world is, if I was falling off and all I had to do was throw a cornhole bag and it had like a grappling hook that was going to hook on that, just on the board. Okay. And it would save my life. I'm going to miss by 10 feet.
See, I find that so surprising. Like, used to be a drummer.
I'm still a drummer. Thank you.
When's the last time you played?
When's the last time your mom played?
Last night, as far as I know.
What were you saying? Because I play the drums, you think that I can hit a board with a
You're used to being
bag?
accurate with where you're striking at. You would think that you would have some...
I don't know if you know how drums work, Ryan. You don't throw the sticks at the drums.
I've seen the sticks thrown.
Yeah.
I saw a drummer with ping pong balls.
Yeah, that's a gimmick. And with that, I've got to edit a lot. It's going to take me 6 or 7 days to get this out. I was going to put it out tomorrow morning like usual, but I had Ryan on. So there's a chance that it's not going to even see the light of day, and I'll probably just shoot one by myself later, and just I'll send this one to Ryan in a text message and be like, look, it's on the internet, buddy.
And I won't ever check it, so he'll get away with it.
Yeah, he's not going to listen to it. He doesn't care about me. He's in it for the clout. And then I told him that there's only 17 followers on the Spotify. He almost left. He's actually like,
hey, that's 16 more than my TikTok. So
I put construction grade adhesive on that car seat before he got in. That's the only reason he agreed to stay. So, well, I'll cut that out too. That's a pretty terrible joke. And you didn't have to do that, but I gotta go. I'm running very late, and that's not good. So I have to break a lot of laws of the land with my.
You're a sovereign
studio.
citizen. There are no laws for you.
Sure, I got to drive my studio back to where I came from, and Ryan has to go to his house. And
Yes.
if you want the address, it is. Don't say it anyway. Now you know, dude. Here's what happened.
What happened?
I just told you.
Dude, here's what happened!